What's good, gang? It's Kevelyn from Frank 151, and I'm here with the legendary artist. Don't make that face. You legendary, bro.
All right.
Peter Paid, and the super dope dot connector. I don't even know what to call you. You are amazing, beautiful spirit, Kate.
Did I roll my eyes when you said that?
Yeah, you gave me a look like. Like
Everybody says
legendary.
it. Yeah, you
But
feel
it's
comfortable.
okay. It's okay. Yes, you are legendary. You have been in rooms with amazing people, and you've been in those rooms for a reason.
All right. I
So
guess I'm not going to argue with you.
So, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your journey as an artist and how you became this great name, Peter
There's
Paid?
a lot. Maybe here, a lot past 7.
Ooh, okay.
So,
I'm here for it.
all right. It's in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
So, grew up in South Brooklyn, just like around the Coney Island, Brighton Beach area, from Sheepshead Bay. So early on, breakdancer who got into graffiti, and I was like a subway train bomber in the mid to late 80s. Right around that time, somebody who lived on my block is who now is a super famous house music producer, this guy Todd Terry. Produced tons of freestyle hits, and he's the one that kind of brought house music to early New York. He kind of had his own stamp on it. And he lived on my block, and huge influence on me musically, right? When I was breakdancing, he was our breakdance crew DJ. So anytime there was an event going on, he was there. So I was always around, music. And I wound up getting into graffiti. I started bombing trains and everything, but always had the music thing kind of on the side. And had little turntables in my apartment. I would practice. When graffiti kind of ended, I went hard into DJing, and I started DJing a lot of clubs throughout the city, Limelight, Red Zone, which definitely before your time, but these are huge.
Oh no, I've heard great, infamous, crazy stories about them. What's it called, the Limelight?
These clubs are legendary.
Yeah.
So I kind of went that route for a few years, and at the time I'm living at home, and I'm coming home 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and this is because I'm DJing, and I was DJing after hours also at the time. So there were a lot of mornings I'd come home the next afternoon, and my mother wasn't having it, and she was like after a while, it didn't matter how much money I was making, and not that we made tons of money back then, but still, for an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid to have $1,000, $1,200 a week cash in the 80s was not bad. Yeah. Didn't matter. I was quote unquote unproductive to society.
Allegedly.
So I needed to get a real job. So and then fighting and stuff, thrown out of the house constantly because I'm not, and I wasn't a bad kid. I didn't get into drugs and none of that stuff.
I feel he was probably the best kid.
I really not to toot my own horn, but I wasn't bad. I wrote graffiti and I did stuff like that, but I wasn't we didn't steal shit, and we didn't really get into trouble. It was just kids doing what we did back then. And I wind up bumping into a friend of mine in the neighborhood who told me, he goes, "Oh, I just got a job working as a helper in the sign shop." And I was like, I always had my eye on signage. From graffiti, lettering always became the way letters are constructed and the way they flow and move. So I said to him, any chance you could put in a word for me and get me in as a helper also? So a couple of days later, he hits me up. He goes, "Yeah, the guy says come in and he'll talk to you." So I go in there, and I'm talking to the guy, and I had gone to High School of Art and Design.
Nice.
So and during the height of the graffiti era, so I was around, and I'm an artist, not just aside from graffiti and all that. It's just in my blood, the creativity. So the owner rolls out on this really large drafting table, rolls out some paper, hands me a pencil. He goes, "Make me a sign." So I'm the fuck do I can curse on this, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so I'm like, what kind of sign am I going to make? So I drew, like, the first thing that popped into my head was to draw, like, a graffiti character holding a sign that said signs. So I go over to him, and he looks at it and goes, all right, be here tomorrow morning. But I didn't know what be here tomorrow morning means. Like, is it, I'm going to teach you, you're going to, sweep and mop floors, throw out garbage? I had no idea. So I was like, all right, I don't know. So I came the next day, and he started teaching me how to actually letter with a brush. And I sucked. It's hair glued to a stick, and you have to,
because your hand needs to be sturdy.
Yeah, essentially that's so. For months, every day I'm like, this guy's gonna fire me. Like, I was scared not scared, but like I was a young kid, and every day is gonna be my last day because I fucked up constantly. And he walks over to me one day, and he sees I messed something up in the frustration, what this sign shop primarily did were paper signs, which would be like, chicken cutlets, $2.99 a pound. I would go like in butcher windows, and so he goes, it's just paper. You make a mistake, crumple it up, start over. And it kind of took the pressure off me. And it was really at that point that I think I allowed myself to really, like, grasp it without the pressure. Like, because every day I think I'm getting fired, so. Yeah. And, and at that point, the progression really started. And I just took to it, and I fell in love with it. Like, I still to this day, like, I remember at night, I would dream about, like, how I would paint the letter C and just, the stroke. And that enabled me to actually get better, because it was almost like I was mentally practicing the hand movements instead of, while I'm not physically doing them. Yeah. It was the same thing kind of with graffiti. I remember when I was going to art and design, I had an hour and 45-minute subway commute every day. So I'd sit on the train. The trains were bombed inside.
That's crazy commute, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
From commute.
Sheepshead Bay up to 57th and 2nd.
It's fucking wild.
It wasn't fun. So, but I'd sit on the train, and because there was so much graffiti back then, I would kind of deconstruct writers' tags. And the way a lot of us graffiti writers we would make our own ink and make our own markers. You can't get markers that write. Now you can, markers that write that fat. Back then you couldn't. So we would, to make ink, we would take like empty 2-liter soda bottles, fill it up with, back in the day, instead of like photocopy machines, it was called a Rexograph.
Okay.
So it was a sheet of paper, like 8.5 by 11, that was carbon paper. So one side was like this purpley blue ink, and it ran on a machine that would spit out copies. And you kind of had to see the way it was, but it was a really messy process, but that's the way it was done. So we would take carbon paper and like crumple it up, stuff it in these bottles, and just fill as many sheets as we can get in, pour some alcohol in, put the cap on, shake it up, you now have ink. So we would take...
that sounds like a dope science
We're
experiment.
about to do this shit.
And this is...
Like, that sounds like some dope-ass science experiment.
14, 15-year-old kids.
Yeah.
This is what we did. So
you guys MacGyvered the shit out of that.
Crazy. We would take old, like, deodorant bottles, like a roll-on, pop the ball out, clean it out, and then, like, a blackboard eraser was strips. The way the eraser itself was constructed was strips of felt, like really thick felt. So you strip it off, and now you have this long strip of probably about 1/4-inch thick felt. You fold it in half, fill the roll-on bottle with ink, stuff the felt tip in there, and now you got a marker that writes fat and gets drippy, and that was a big thing.
Fire.
So when you would look at the way these tags were done inside the subway cars, you could actually see the way like lettering was done, because you see the strokes. So I would look at that and kind of deconstruct it, same way with sign painting with lettering. So so I was a sign painter for years. I worked in a few different shops. I wound up going out on my own and opening up my own sign shop. And I had South Brooklyn on lock with like paper signs. Like I was, if you
were the guy, you were him.
I was
still him.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was like early on, it was like, oh, there's my sign, there's my sign, there's my sign. After a while, it's like, all right, whatever. But literally, I had shit everywhere. Uh-huh. And I wound up getting the opportunity to work for New York City Department of Transportation. So what happened was, I knew everybody in the sign industry. Some guy walks into my shop one day, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm a sign guy. I work for the city." I'm like, "Work for the city? Just making signs? What freaking signs does the city need?" He goes, "Oh, like the highway signs and street signs." I was like, "Holy shit! I never even thought about where those come from."
Yeah, you never thought that'd be an actual job.
Yeah, no. So really, really, really nice guy. Lives in my neighborhood, and he goes, "I'm going to put you in touch with the union, and if something opens up, then, it's a great, pension benefits and all that stuff." Uh-huh. So this is probably around 97. So puts me in touch with the union. Every 3 months, 6 months, I'd reach out to the union. Nope, nothing. It was, so the title, the civil service title of the people that actually make the signs, at the time, there were only 7 in New York City. So in order to get that job, somebody has to either quit, retire, or die.
Damn.
It's a job you can't get.
Yeah.
So nobody's quitting, or but it's just, it's rare that somebody's going to quit. Nobody was of retirement age or near death age unless, a freak accident. So for about 3 years, I was in touch with the guy from the union. One day he calls me up and he goes, "There was a posting for the job. I already submitted your resume. I don't know if they're going to call you," but sure enough, they wound up calling me. And it was probably about a 9-month process, because the city's red tape and all that, from the time you actually get interviewed to the time you're hired to the time you start. But I wound up working at DOT for about just under 11 years, and made all like the big giant signs you see on the highway. Uh-huh. And what was really cool that we did a lot of, well, not a lot, but because I have a hand lettering background, some higher ups had come to us and said that Macy's is looking to have a logo painted in front of Macy's Herald Square in the street for the Thanksgiving Day parade. So we kind of put a crew together, and every year, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, so you got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every night we would go there. DOT, because it's a city agency, doesn't need permits to shut down Broadway and all that. They would radio in for the police, and they'd redirect traffic, and we would paint this giant logo in the street for the parade. And every year you see like the Rockettes performing on it, and it was a pretty big deal. And we did stuff with back when there was a huge run that the Knicks were going on. Uh-huh. And they had there was a song that came out called "Go New York, Go New York, Go."
Yeah, they still have that. You still play that.
Do they really?
Yeah, they still play that shit.
Basketball's not my thing, but...
Oh, no, Knicks been winning with a crazy lead lately, like a 30-point lead, and I'm like, yeah, go New York, go New York, go.
So, but there was an actual song that came out. Yeah. They did like videos and stuff. So we got hired to paint right in front of Madison Square Garden a giant Knicks logo, and then going staggered down 7th Avenue in all the different lanes, it was a giant "Go NY Go" in like orange paint. And Yeah, I have pictures of that somewhere.
So is that like one of your most exciting like projects to work on? Because the people that you've made pieces for is like, the list is insane. Just with the couple pictures that I got sent, I was like, bruh, how you gonna sit on this couch and be like, no, I'm regular.
We'll get to all that. There's a lot, and we're getting to it. But when I was working on all this stuff, it's blood money. You're working at night. We had to work our regular shift.
Yeah.
So everything that we did was great that it was overtime because you're getting time and a half, but you're painting the street. It's back-breaking work. You're bent over. You're on your knees. The paint that we use, it's all oil-based paint, but they didn't use paint thinner. We used to cut it with gasoline, like to thin it. So
I can imagine your nostrils.
And back then I used to smoke cigarettes.
Suffered.
So I'd have a cigarette in my mouth and I'm using paint and the fumes but whatever, I didn't give a shit. So when we're doing the work, it's like, oh man, I just want to be done with it. And it takes nights to do it. And when you're working 7-8 hours at night on top of your regular shift and you hardly get any sleep and hardly get to eat, it sucks. But then the end result, when you watch on TV, and then it's like,
you're like, I did that shit.
Yeah. When I look back at all the photos, I'm like, I'm glad I did it, and I did it for a long time. The Macy's logo, I think I painted 9 of them until the person that was kind of in charge of setting all it up, like dealing with Macy's and having all the paint delivered, he moved on to another position, and the person that took his position he didn't want to deal with all that shit. So he gave them a price that was like ridiculous, and Macy's wound up finding somebody that just now creates digital prints, and they stick them in the street. They do it the night before, and they take them up.
It's some vinyl bullshit.
That's all it is.
I feel like shit like that doesn't have soul.
No, and don't get me wrong. It looks good. But it doesn't have soul.
Yeah, it just doesn't have soul. Things especially art used to back in the day. Now, especially with AI and chippy, our attention spans are shit now, and now people expect shit to be here today. Like, they think of an idea today, and tomorrow they need it done in real life, and it's like, no, some things.
That's why I like the Colossal Media, who do all those. I mean, that is awesome. Have you seen, the Colossal Media, and all the signs they do for big brands are all hand painted. So by amazing artists, so you don't even realize.
Yes,
I
have seen them. They're mainly in Brooklyn. Well, those are the ones that I see.
Yeah, usually. All right. So they started off in Brooklyn. Yeah. All right. So actually, just to kind of back up a little bit.
Yeah.
When I had my sign shop, a couple of times a week people would walk in and say, oh, I'm a sign painter, I'm looking for a job. I would just throw a brush down in front of them. The second they pick it up, I already know if they're really a sign painter or not. Never gave anybody a job because my whole thing was, aside from the fact that you need to be good, you need to be fast. Because I was churning out so much work. Like, lunch for me was a brush in one hand, a slice of pizza in the other. So, and because if I'm not working, I'm not making money. It was my own, it was a small shop, but that's how it is. So one day this kid walks in. I'm in my mid-20s. A kid walks in, he's maybe like 19, 20 years old. And he's got on black slacks, white shirt, black tie, a kid. So he's like, oh, I'm wondering if you could teach me how to paint signs. Really, really soft spoken. I'm like, you're not from New York, right? He goes, no, I'm from Seattle. I just moved here.
I like how other born and raised New Yorkers can pick up easy. You're not from here.
Yeah.
You're not from here. I could smell it on you. You're not from here.
As it turns out, he was from Seattle. He was working as a waiter at an Italian restaurant a few blocks away, so he would walk past my sign shop every single day and he was living up in the Bronx, coming down to Sheepshead Bay.
He's built different.
Yeah.
So that's different.
I because he was a nice guy, I said, well, do you have any examples of your work? He goes, I'll bring something in tomorrow. So the next day he comes in and he brings what graffiti writers call a black book, which is, it's a completely black bound book with white pages and completely blank, but he doesn't have graffiti in it. He actually has like cool character sketches, but I could tell he was a graffiti writer. So I asked him, I was like, you write graph? And he goes, no. I'm like, right. So I pull a mark around and I start doing paid tags. And he's like, you write graffiti? So, long story short, great guy. I agreed to teach him. I said, here's the deal. Because he's like, I'll sweep your floors, I'll throw out your garbage. He's like, you don't have to do anything. Just listen to what I tell you to do and just do it. And he would show up every day a couple of hours before work, and I had 2 really large drafting tables. I worked on one, I gave him the other one. I'd roll some paper out for him, and I showed him how to make like straight lines, and he would paint the letter A over and over and over and over, thousands of A's, and then he'd move on to B, and then he'd never said a peep.
Wow.
He did everything that I told him to do, and then he went from a simple straight letter to like an angled. It's called a casual letter, something that's like italicized, and he became my apprentice. And so, long story short, with him, so he wound up. He had a friend who the friend was kind of sleeping on his couch. That's one of the partners of Colossal.
Oh, wow.
So Colossal was this guy and one of the owners from Mass Appeal magazine. And they kind of started it together, but kind of the idea, at least from what I got, is because my friend's name is Matt. Matt was this sign painter, and he got really good. What was kind of cool about it is I would see some of his work, and because I'm his influence, his work looked like very similar to mine. But I'd go, did I make that or did Matt make that? So, so I as far as I know, I believe the idea for Colossal kind of came about indirectly from the fact that I had taught Matt, and Matt was hand lettering, and it's like, guys, I mean, he's sleeping on the guy's couch, so it's not like a huge future is ahead of him, but the idea came, and kind of that's how Colossal Media was born, and they are by far the largest in the world. They were actually just bought out by like a big company, like they sold out, and I mean, and sold out in a good way. They're New York, they're Los Angeles, they're Chicago. I think they're San Francisco, but they're they're a real deal.
I didn't even realize that when I mentioned it.
That is crazy. So you basically influenced
I don't want to say that I did, but I think on some level, at least from the stories that I've gotten over the years, like I definitely have some kind of connection in that regard. And anytime I go to Colossal, it's like, yo, like, which is dope.
Oh, that's dope that the love is always there.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that.
A few years back, they, not for sale, they would make hoodies, but just for the crew, and like some clients they would give them
like
to.
Exclusive type of shit.
Right. So it was just a black hoodie, and then in the back said Colossal Media. So they asked me if I would design one. So their slogan is always hand painted. So I did their Colossal logo, and then I, in my like casual style, wrote always hand paint. And you see up on some of these like scissor lifts, the guys work, and you see my hoodie in the back.
Oh, so, that's dope.
It's nice.
Well, that's, again, the audacity, that you have to be like, no, I'm okay, but then you're a fucking legend.
I just don't look at it that way. I mean, it is, but
you're him.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Thank you.
You could just sit with that and let it.
I think you're really an artist. When you're an artist, there's always further to go. So you you still doing new things and growing, and like I see it like in your works, like even like where you're doing different things with the letterings and the finishes.
Yeah, I always try to. I don't want it to get stale.
Yeah,
which you can.
I was just about to ask you. You've been in the game for so long, and your stories say that. Like, what pushes you now to stay being
let's
great?
Even. There's still more to the story to even get where we even are. So, when I started working at DOT, I also had my sign shop. And when I opened up my sign shop, I opened up with a friend of mine. So we went into business together. I was handling all of the hand lettering. He was doing like all the business stuff. But when they say don't mix business and friendship, it didn't work. Once the slacking started a few years in, but once I had my city job and the sign shop, well, now it's like he thinks I'm not giving 100%, so he gave even less. But so the sign shop wound up closing down, and I did like 11 years at DOT, and didn't pick up a brush at all. Other than the logos we would paint in the street, everything is computerized. So I kind of just forgot about it. Sign painting, hand lettering was something that I had done in the past, and I no longer do. I'm still creating signs, but this is the way it is now. So, just to fast forward a little bit, I had a graffiti artist friend that was making small graffiti canvases, and he had a website, and he would sell kind of graffiti style canvases along with other writers. So he hit me up one day. This is, I'm going to say 2015-ish, and said, why don't you go on Amazon, order a couple of canvases, get some paint markers, and do some tags and throw ups and sell them on the website. So I did that for a couple of years, and every so often I'd make some stuff. And one Christmas, he came up with the idea to do the 12 days of Christmas, and each day he's gonna highlight another one of the graffiti writers, and he made he would do little Instagram videos and post them. So I do a couple of canvases with some pieces on it, some tags, some throw-ups, and I was like, I'm kind of bored of that. So I'd say it was a small little canvas, like a 9x12, and I take some acrylic paint and I paint it just all a solid yellow background. And I pull out some paint markers, and then I'm like, let me try to make this little canvas, but in the format of how I would paint my paper signs. So my tag was paid. So when I wrote graffiti, I wrote paid. When I started DJing, I was DJ paid. Everybody knew me in the neighborhood, Peter paid, because it just kind of rolled off the tongue. So one of the crews that I was down with was called MSD, which was a crew from Bushwick. Stood for Mad Subway Demons. So I did a small little MSD crew, and then I wrote paid 1 in a bold letter, and then I did 1984, but as a price. So I'm like, all right, a little interesting. So I did a couple of little variations like that, and he put them up on the website, and I think one of them sold. So I was like, I want to kind of see where this doing it in this format, where it's going to go. So what I used to do a lot, and the sign shop that I served an apprenticeship at, I got yelled at constantly. So when I first started learning how to paint paper signs, everything was a solid color paper, whether it's yellow or pink or orange or green with, black, red, or blue paint. One day he broke out a can of fluorescent spray paint, and he comes over and he sprays to highlights and stuff, and then he cut out a cardboard, a star, and I was like, I like that. So I would do that, but I would go overboard. When you see my stuff now, it's super, you have a white background, but there's 50 colors on it. So he would yell at me. He goes, "What's all this shit you're doing? It looks terrible. It's too much. It's too much. You're taking away from it." But I loved it. So when I went out on my own, I'm like, well, I have nobody to tell me you can't do it. So that was kind of my thing, where I would add all these colors, because when somebody would put a sale sign in their window, the objective is for people walking by or driving by to see it. Yes. And the more colorful it is, it's going to turn their head, and my shit worked. So it's fast forward, I decide, let me get some fluorescent spray paint, let me just spray the border and do some stuff. And I spray up a canvas, and I'm like, what am I going to write on? I was doing it all with like little paint markers. So it pops into my head, because music, going back, the whole DJ thing, I couldn't fit a Tribe Called Quest because it's such a small canvas. Yeah. So I did ATCQ, and I did Lyrics to Go, which is one of their songs.
Yes.
And then the year as a price, and I'm like, I got something.
You wanted something.
So then I did another one, which was, I did a Wu-Tang Clan, Protect Your Neck.
Uh-huh.
And then I did a Main Source, Live at the Barbecue, all on little canvases. So I take pictures of them, I send them to my friend who has the website. I was like, do me a favor, put them up. So he puts them up the next day, gone, 5 minutes, they're gone. So I'm like, he goes, yo, you gotta make some more. So I get some more canvases, and now I'm making them, and I couldn't make them fast enough. And I'm selling them for like $30. But they're little things that I'm doing them with paint markers. So I'm going through so many of them, and then people are like, could you make one, bigger? So I tried making them bigger, but with paint markers it's kind of difficult, because now I'm like drawing the letters out, but I'm now filling them in. It just doesn't have the same feel. Yeah. So I'm like, I got my brushes. I have my brushes from the 90s. Uh-huh. I never got rid. They were stored away. So I pick up some sign paint, and there was a lot of rust in the beginning, but I started painting some stuff, and I had like my personal Instagram page. It was actually DJ Paid was my Instagram. Uh-huh. So I said, well, let me create a new Instagram page that's going to be for this art. So, and everybody knew me, but not everybody. What I was going under was Paid MSD, because I didn't know what Paid was my tag, and MSD was the crew that I pushed most. So, I create this new Instagram account. I'm telling people to follow me. I had under 100 followers, and I reach out to one of my boys from back in the graffiti days. His name is Chino BYI. Uh-huh. So Chino's been, to say he made a career, like a legitimate career out of graffiti, putting people together. Like, he knows everybody, and he knows everybody that needs something, and he's like you need A and B?
Like a dot connector.
Yeah, I have A and B here, but he knows the best of the best of the best. So I hit him up, and I says, hey, this is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Would you mind, I want to paint you something. Would you mind posting it on Instagram? He does Instagram stories. He doesn't post anything. Like, it's rare that he'll...
kind of like me.
He'll actually... Like, for him to do a post, it's a big deal. So I paint him, BYI, Chino, and then, year, whatever. I give him the canvas, and a week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, I don't hear anything. And he's doing me a favor, so I don't want to, So in the interim, I bump into, at an art show, another guy, Keo, X-Men. Uh-huh. So I'm talking to Keo, and I'm showing him what I'm doing, and he goes, dude, I have 50,000 followers. He goes, all people want my stickers. He goes, it'll be a pleasure to post something that's, other. So I was like, all right, so let me make you something, and da-da-da-da. So I get some artwork to him, and another week goes by, and I'm still doing small things, and I'm posting them on my Instagram, but nobody's really seeing it. So, I can only, I'm selling what it is I'm putting out there, but it's just, the reach is nothing. So, it was a Friday night, and I'm sitting in my apartment. It's literally like 8, 9 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden my phone, bloop, 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 just notifications that could not keep up with itself. It was, I almost thought there was something wrong with my phone. Chino posted my artwork and said to give me a follow, and I hit easy 1,000 followers that weekend.
Oh, I love that for you.
And then the next day, Keo posted. So it was like just going.
It was like back to back, just
back to back to back to back to back. But the thing is, now I'm seeing the people that liked his or their posts are Eric Hayes, Stretch Armstrong, Spike Lee, like all just.
Yeah.
So I'm like in their DMs going, I made that. Let me make you something. And everybody's like, oh, absolutely. So the two first people that I hit up that were like, yes, were Eric Hayes and Say Adams.
Ooh.
So I make them both canvases, and Say goes, come to my studio, come drop it off. So I go there. Couldn't have been nicer. Like, just spend probably about an hour and a half there, and he's like a hip-hop history lesson in a person. So it was a few days later, Hayes, I had his artwork ready. He goes, I'll come to the studio and drop it off. Now, let me just back up a hair. So while all of this stuff is going on, like, it's a lot happening at once. Yeah. And somebody reached out to me and said, there's an art fair coming to New York. They were in London the year before. It's a new art fair. It's called Moniker. So they were going to have something in New York, and they had like a location on Broadway and like a block or two south of like Astor Place. It was like somewhere over there. So I have a connection. The guy that reached out to me, I got a connection with this gallery, and you can get in there. I made a mistake in the gallery that I was dealing, and I don't know if it's just something that happens in that world. I had to pay like $3,500 for wall space to put my artwork up in this gallery, and the art fair itself was great, but nobody bought anything.
Yeah.
Not just didn't buy my work. I don't think anything in the whole art fair. They had people coming through and pictures and photos, and all of that stuff was good in the sense that it got me more exposure. But I make paintings to sell them.
Yeah.
So, look, not everything is going to sell. But, when you're in an art fair and then it just costs you $3,500 to put your shit up.
We prefer to make money on this side.
I at least want to break even would be, would have been nice. But I didn't sell anything. But at the end of the day, whatever. I made a lot of connections and all that was good. But now just to back up a little. So when I was by Eric Hayes' studio, I'm giving him basically what we're talking about right now, my whole history. So he goes, no, I know. He goes, I spoke to Chino, and Chino gave me the rundown on you, and he goes, you're real deal. So I was telling him about the Moniker Art Fair, and, I'm going to put some artwork in it, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And he goes, well, and he sat down with me, and he goes, well, how big is the wall? And he drew out, like, all right, so let's go one big one and like 4 small ones because you want a statement piece and blah, 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 blah. So I'm painting everything on a small little drafting table in my living room. So he says, but you need to do something big. So I'm like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I don't disagree. Next day, my phone rings, 212 area code. I'm like, I don't know who this is. I answer the phone. He goes, hey, it's Hayes. I was thinking about our conversation yesterday, and many years ago, somebody helped me out, and I want to pay it forward to you. So all the room you need, come to my studio and you can paint your whole series in my studio. So, other than thank you, like I didn't even know what to say. I mean, just going in there, forget about the artwork that he's working on, that's great. He has a whole showroom area, and if you're familiar with his history, forget, it's, Beastie Boys and LL Cool J album covers and motorcycles and just collaborations with everybody. And you're literally looking at the actual one-of-one sneakers that he made to, for one of the Air Force One drops that he did. And it's just, it's incredible to look at. So
I'm glad you said that, because I was like, I want everyone to get who this is that sees something so special in you.
Yeah,
he's like one. I mean, Say Adams and him; those are like icons.
Yeah. So I go to a studio. I have the canvases there and everything, my paint, and it's the day I'm getting ready to paint, and he has we'll call him his studio assistant, but he's his right arm and part of his left arm. His name is Jay. So Jay is kind of quiet the whole time, but Jay's really like behind the scenes running the whole show.
It's always the quiet ones.
Yeah.
It's always the quiet ones.
So Hayes.
You see what I mean?
Hayes is like, they're watching me, and I have some charcoal and I'm like laying stuff out, and the way as a sign painter you would do like straight lines on something, I would have a yardstick and I would hold a pencil or charcoal at the end of the yardstick, and then I would hold the bottom of it along the edge of the canvas, and you kind of slide across, and you can make perfectly straight lines like really, really quickly. So he sees me doing that, and he looks at Jay and he goes, "Oh," he goes, "Yeah, like we got the real one here." So because you could tell just the way somebody works on their tools, and so I paint all the artwork there, and Monica was what it was. But from that point on, like, Hayes and I had gotten super, super close, like mentors. And anytime I have a question, I called him the other day. I'm like, I'm thinking about blah, 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 and I want to get your opinion. And he's like, okay, yes, da, 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 da. And then, like, we had emails going back and forth. He's like, all right, do this, do this, do this. And yeah, to have somebody to bounce stuff off of is great. To have somebody like Hayes to bounce stuff off of is, forget godsend. It's you can't, like, it just doesn't happen. I couldn't dream for it to happen. And now it's like we talk all the time, go to the house barbecues, like, it's
now that I know all this, I am like, you thought I was excited for Thursday. I'm like even more excited, because I'm not gonna lie. Last time I went to your event, the landmark event throughout the summer, you had the custom Peter Paid beer can.
Beer can.
I kept that shit. It's right now sitting in my bookcase, because I was drinking it. I was there with one of my friends, and I'm drinking it, and I'm like 3-4 beers in, so I'm kind of feeling it. And he's like, you better not throw that shit away.
You know what's funny is I brought you some stuff, including one of the cans, because I didn't know you had it. So I have one with me.
Yes, I have one. I have one. And my mom, obviously, she's like an old school Dominican woman. She's like, why do you have a can there? Why do you have an empty beer can there?
I did a new one.
Ma, it's art. Yeah. It's art.
I did a new one for this event, and the second week of
December
the event,
2nd.
we're going to do like a can signing.
Yeah, that's, I want to get into it. Your event that's coming. Okay.
Well, yeah, because there's still more, because you were getting into all the people that have my. Yeah. So aside from guys like Say Adams and Eric Hayes and Keo having my artwork, so Chino calls me up one day. This is right around the time of, actually, it's just past Monica. Actually, hold on, let me back up. Just before Monica, I did my first solo show at a bar in Brooklyn called Beer Wax, which is, like craft beer. I'm not a beer guy, and it's all like the fancy, like hipster beer. But in that bar, they have behind the bar all vinyl, and they have real deal vinyl DJs that come in and spin, so they're all about music. So my artwork really fit in well with their whole. So what was cool is we have my event, and then like it might have been the following week on Instagram. Are you familiar with Storch and Barbito?
Yeah.
All right, so Barbito is standing in front of one of my paintings. He's going, yo, Peter Page, like that. Yeah, so I'm like, holy shit. And then I see, because the bar was handling the sales of any artwork, that I see one of my paintings sold, and it comes to as Jose Parla, who's a very, very, very big deal in the art world. So he actually bought, I did a Storch and Barbito painting, he bought it. So, which was friggin' awesome. Anyway, so Chino calls me up one day, I'm just sitting on the couch, he calls me up and we're bullshitting for like an hour, and he says, the reason for the actual phone call is, Beyond the Streets, which was an event I knew about the year before they had in Los Angeles. And I knew from him that they were coming to New York at some point, wasn't sure exactly when. So he says, tomorrow night is the VIP reception, and I want you to come as my guest. So I'm like, absolutely. Let me back up just a hair. One of the paintings I had that didn't sell, because most of the ones did, in the Beer Wax show was LL Cool J Rock the Bells. Oh. Now, every time I posted one of my paintings, I always tagged the artist. They don't follow me, so they don't see it. But people that they do follow, like Chino and maybe Hayes, so somehow LL wound up liking the Rock the Bells painting that I did. Okay. I'm at the VIP reception of Beyond the Streets, packed. It's a who's who of art and graffiti and music and everybody. It just so happens LL is hosting it. He's got a crowd of 1,000 people around him, and I'm not even thinking about the painting.
Yeah.
So an hour or two goes by. It was a 2-level show, and I'm upstairs, and I'm like, hold on. He liked the Rock the Bells painting. So I go on my phone, I'm scrolling. I get the Rock the Bells painting. He's in the midst of a conversation with a circle around him. And I wait for a break in the conversation. I just take my phone and I stick it like right in his face. And he goes, you painted that? So I go, yeah. And he grabs me and hugs me. He's like, oh my God, I love it. So I was like, it's yours. Because I still had it, never sold. So he pulls his assistant over. He goes, take his information, like coordinate, whatever. So I shipped the artwork out to LL. It was probably about 2 or 3 weeks later, maybe not even. Actually, it wasn't. It was actually that next week. So the curator of Beyond the Streets is this guy named Roger Gastman, he puts together like some of the illest like art shows, and he's done films with, Banksy, Exit to the Gift Shop. I'm not familiar. Yeah, he's behind all that stuff. So Chino emails me and says, introduction, Roger, Pete, So they wanted to bring me in to actually paint at Beyond the Streets live and, make some paper signs and sell them to people. So we did that, and unbelievable, reception. I think it was the following week, Chino calls me up and says, DMC is coming in. He's supposed to do an art talk, and Stretch Armstrong was supposed to DJ it. He can't make it. You want to get on? So I'm like, absolutely. If any, Chino, Keo, Say, and Hayes, they asked me for anything. They needed a kidney. Done. I owe those guys so much. So I'm like, absolutely. Besides, I love DJing. Yeah. So I'm like, well, if I'm DJing and DMC is going to be there, I'm rocking Run DMC King of Rock painting, and I bring it to be on the streets. I give it to DMC. He loves it. And that same night, while I'm posting photos of DMC holding my artwork and at the art talk, LL Cool J also posts a picture of him with the Rock the Bells painting hanging in his office, and he tags me and everything. So now it's just...
Oh, that follower number went up. It wasn't 1,000 anymore, huh?
No, it's... My follower count on Instagram is nothing crazy, but it's 100% organic. Never paid for a follow, a like, none of that. It's... I want to know real who's following me, not some fake shit. So, but what I've been very fortunate in is been able to get my artwork into the hands of, like, a lot of guys that musically I fuck with. Yeah. And have been since I'm a kid. So, probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe it's even a little longer, Exhibit, the rapper, was following me, and he was reposting my shit a lot. So he hits me up, and he's one of his songs that he had is called Napalm, but he also came out with, like, I think it's a weed brand. I don't smoke, so I don't know the whole.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about, because I took a smoking break. I still consume THC. I just do edibles. I just wanted to give my lungs a break, but I know exactly what you're talking about. He came out with like a vape thing.
Could be.
I think it was like a vape thing.
And it's called Napalm.
Yeah.
So he hits me up and he's like, yo, I want to get a Napalm artwork. So I'm like, I got you. So I had done for a show that I was doing around the summer that I had Beyond the Streets. I did a painting of, it was my take on Dr. Dre's The Chronic, which I friggin' loved, and I was like, oh, this shit's selling. And it didn't sell. A lot of other stuff did, thankfully, but this one didn't, and it just sat. I had it hanging in my studio. Exhibit goes, is that Chronic artwork still available? So I'm like, yeah, why? He goes, I want to gift it to Dr. Dre for his birthday. How much is it? I said, if you get a photo of Dr. Dre holding the artwork, it's nothing. So he's like, say easy. Less. He's like, I got you. So I make his artwork. I ship it out with the. So he sends me a photo of Dr. Dre holding the thing. He goes, but don't post it, because it was like 2 weeks later that Dr. Dre was doing the Super Bowl, and he was doing like a social media, like silent, like nothing, no posts, no nothing until he does the Super Bowl. So I waited for that, and then boom, I put it out. And
holding on to that type of heat for 2 weeks is crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, because I can imagine just like, I'm looking at it. Post this. Oh. Yeah.
Oh damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and there's so many more. Yeah. Like stories like that, which are just another, because I have so many, and once I just go,
I don't doubt it.
Like verbal diarrhea. I just keep going.
Because all the pictures that I see, even the ones that, like, other than the ones in the email and your IG, like, literally you just Google Peter Paid, and all you see is it's like it rolls up like a Rolodex. Just
it's not even just that. You just, like, even the other day we were meeting with someone from like a music company. And I'm like looking at his page, and like the first thing I see is he has a Peter Paid piece in the background.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it is. Cool. And it's just so funny that so many people, and such different types of people. Like Nem's I was like, this needs to be the video for the show, because he's like, here goes the legend.
Coney Island. He's right by me.
Yeah, we actually interviewed Nems about a year and a half ago, probably 2 years, and we actually went to Coney Island, spent a whole day with him. It was super fire. We did a little bit of Christmas shopping with him, and I tell you what, the shit that comes out of that man's mouth is, I love it, because I fucking love it, because it's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like, but it's also really nice. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
you expect when I stop by the store just like to bullshit. He's like, like he's not. Don't ever disrespect me. I mean,
no,
he is,
he's
but
like a fucking teddy bear.
Yeah,
like I love
such a good guy.
that. I love him for that. He's
so
super nice. And every time he
a good
sees
dude.
me and stuff like that, I'm like, I ain't nobody. But every time he sees me, he recognizes me. Like he's like, yo, what's good?
That's what
I know
he's
you.
always like that.
Yeah,
and
like he won't
so
forget a
respect.
face, and I appreciate that because there's a lot of people that I will just interview them once, post them, they'll give me a thank you, and then after that it's complete disconnect, and then I'll see them again, and I'll be like, hey, and then they'll make a face like I know you, but I don't know you. I'm just gonna fake the funk and just go with it.
On Sunday, I was in Sheepshead Bay. I live in Bay Ridge, so I was going to be passing by Coney Island on the Bell Parkway. So I shot him a text. You by the store? I'll swing by. He goes, yeah, roll through. So I come by the store, and I get out of the car. He does his "don't ever disrespect me,"
all that
whatever.
shit.
So we're saying what's up, whatever. And then once he puts the phone down, well, once he stops recording, he goes like that. I see him going like this in his phone. He goes, I shouldn't show you this, but I'm going to show it to you. And he opens up his calendar, and he shows Thursday, and he goes, like Peter Pade's event.
Nice.
And he goes, I was just going to surprise you and show up there, but yeah,
Nice.
so he should be there
so
Thursday.
You know, he's a supportive guy. He's come through the stuff. Like, he really, I feel like that's not someone I'm close with, but I've known for many years. And even from when I used to do park events, he's like, would you do one in Brooklyn? Like, he's just real.
He's a good dude.
Just wants to do stuff.
Yeah.
And he's a worker. You know,
he
when
really
people
is.
say hustler, it could be in a bad way. And like, when people are like, I'm a hustler. And they're like, no, you're not supposed to hustle your people.
Yes.
No, that dude grinds, and everything he gets, he deserves because he works hard. Like Peter, you know.
Yeah.
So.
No, getting to know Nems and like his backstory, and then just seeing everything that he did, especially for Byron, the dude he helped out and stuff like that. Like literally getting him out the shelter, getting a whole apartment for him, and just because of the power of social media, I was like, this is. You're a different breed, bro, and I respect it, and I love it, and I accept it.
What I love about him is, so he's said it. He's not going to put money in your hand, but he's going to give you opportunity to make money.
Yes.
And he does, because he put, like, I don't know if you watch his podcast Outside with Gorilla Nems.
Yeah.
It's hysterical.
I watch it here and there.
I watch it all the time. It's so funny. But he's got his boys that are with him that he fucks with all day long, and now they're, what they're going to do with it, who knows, but
it's a window.
They're out there.
It's a window and opportunity. And I shit you not. I wish I was making this up. As soon as I got there with the crew and everything like that, and we're just waiting for Nems to get settled in and stuff like that, right outside the barbershop that he's always in. Outside, mind you, it is December. Fucking freezing. I'm there with my long ass jacket. There's a dude in a wife beater giving tattoos on some jailhouse shit outside on the block. And they look at me. Back then, I didn't have a lick of tats. Now I have a whole bunch. He was like, yo, shorty, you want to get tatted? I was like, nah, bro, I'm good. He was like, you sure you don't want to get tatted? It's for free. I was like,
yeah, no, you don't want a free tattoo.
There's nothing good about a free tattoo.
For a real, actually, I wouldn't say for a really short stretch, but when I was working at DOT, on the side, I actually got into tattooing, and I was just
that's dope. That's dope.
There's good money in tattoos, and at this point, it was still illegal in New York. But I had this huge kind of like loft style apartment, and I created a whole section, like half of my apartment, and it was like a tattoo studio. And I could just be watching TV on a Wednesday night, and all of a sudden get messages, yo, you available? And then I'm tattooing till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And it's all cash. So, but when I was learning, I was doing tattoos for free, because you just want free, you want skin.
Just free game.
And I sucked, but I did it. I wouldn't do.
Sorry to those people.
No, I wouldn't do a tattoo
but I'd like
that
to see what
I
he did
thought
if you're
was.
I'm curious.
Like, if it was really outside my ability, I would say no.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't let the person get out of the chair until it was something that I felt was at least okay for a rookie tattoo artist. And, eventually I got better. I wasn't by no stretch great or a legit, at least what I would say, especially the kind of work you see now. It's just insane. But, I did it.
So what's the longest that you had somebody sit in your chair to get a free tattoo?
I'd say average is maybe 2-3 hours. You know, and then taking breaks in between. I never did anything that was like really large because it would have been out of my ability. So I would handle what I was comfortable with. So, yeah, I wasn't an asshole about it.
Well, speaking of art and all the everything art, because DJ, tattoo artist, graffiti.
I don't know if I put tattoo artist in that, but just a little. It's on the resume,
you picked
but
up
it's
the pen.
Yeah,
you picked it up.
Now I'm doing everything goes on the resume.
That's my new thing. That's like, fuck it. If your resume is 2 pages long, then fuck it. It is what it is. Like,
I do it as a joke sometimes. Like I'll be like, oh, I did this for you, secretary now. Like like just adding shit.
Oh, in that case, it's like IT.
I'm like, you should throw that there. I'm like, site locator.
Fuck it. So you have a month-long exhibit coming on Thursday, curated by the amazing Kate.
Thank you.
And you have your amazing events, landmarks. So you are definitely going to be back on this couch because I know it's coming back in January, and I cannot wait for it because the last one was super dope. So what can... Oh, and it's also a collab with the Bronx Brewery at Hudson Yard. So what can your fans and younger audience, because it is going to be at the Hudson Yard, which is a greater scope. Like, the good thing about it being there, I feel like it's... People hear, oh, you want to go to the Bronx? And automatically are like, get the fuck out of here. That's the fucking Bronx. I'm not going over there. It's deep as shit.
I don't go above 14th Street.
Exactly. There's a whole bunch of people that move like that. There's a whole bunch of people that it's like, oh, past 125th, I'm not going. Like, fuck that.
I came out to the Bronx event over the summer.
It wasn't even the Bronx, but it was uptown. So
that wasn't the Bronx? It felt like the Bronx.
Street.
He said close enough.
It was 124th Street.
That's the Bronx.
3rd Ave.
Isn't that the Bronx?
Wait, you're at an event last time?
From Landmark Festival.
Yeah, the Landmark. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't go past 125th. I was right there.
I thought I was in like Albany.
Oh, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, so what can people expect?
I loved going, but the ride... Look, I'm South Brooklyn. And real South Brooklyn. Like, people call Park Slope and whatever South. That's not South Brooklyn.
No.
I mean, I grew up, like, just outside of Coney Island. And Bay Ridge now is, 5 minutes away, so it's not the real tip. But it's down there. So it's a long ride, especially when you hit that BQE.
Oh, I know. I know.
So Bronx Brewery, they reached out to Kate to see if I'd be interested in doing another beer can because the one that we did in the summer,
the heaters are wilding in the background.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, it's just New York heaters.
So what started off as, would I be interested in doing a beer can turned into, well, if you have any artwork laying around that you just want to put up in the location, if it sells, it sells, if it doesn't, it doesn't. Turned into, well, let's go there and talk and and really, I don't like to, as much as I can, I don't like to just flat out say no. And honestly, like, other than doing the beer can, I really didn't want to I don't want to hang my artwork in a bar. I think I've worked hard enough that I'm at a level where I'm kind of past that. Yeah. And it's not there's a knock on that.
No, it's not a slight, it's not a knock. It's just you recognizing your worth. Like, you've done this much work, and you deserve to...
Yeah, and I figured I worked.
Yeah.
So, we sat down with Damien, who's the president of Bronx Brewery, me, him, and Kate. We sat down, had a beer, and, like, I'm looking at the location. First of all, I've never... Not that it's crazy to say, but I saw Hudson Yards being built, but I've never been in Hudson Yards since it's built. And, I go in and I had no idea that it was actually in a mall. But once you go in there and it's, Van Cleef and Arpels and Dior and it's a good mall. It's not Claire's and, Annie's pretzels.
It's a little bougie.
Yeah,
it's bougie.
So right there, I'm like, all right, so while I was sitting down at the table, looking, now their walls are the walls are all painted by a graffiti artist. Is it Andre Trainer?
Okay.
So,
shout out to Andre.
And they're all black walls, but he's got super colorful stuff, and it's really, really busy. So I'm not thinking, like, where am I going to put my stuff? Like, it just didn't feel... So Damien said that, and we saw there's like a steel structure that's kind of above and the center of the bar. And he goes, what about hanging the stuff, like, kind of up there? So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't think that's a bad idea. I could work with it. So we got some photos and we got measurements. And while we're sitting back down at the table discussing it, I'm like, I don't think I'm just going to take a couple of old pieces that are just sitting around. I'm going to make a whole bunch of new shit for this.
So people are going to see new unreleased
shit
on Thursday?
Yeah. Well, I've been teasing videos on Instagram.
But there's some good ones.
But yeah. There's stuff that I haven't put out. So
I'm so excited.
It's like, so I have a clipboard with Post-its and all different, pieces of paper. Anytime I get an idea, I want to do this one, I always write it down, and I have like just this list of a lot of artwork that I want to paint, and some of them I've gotten to, but there's so many that I haven't, and a lot of them, not a lot of them, but there's 20 paintings in the show total. I think 8 of them are smaller, older ones. 12 of them are newer ones. There are a lot of ones that I wanted to get, but some of them I approached kind of in a different way. They're still done, like you'd look and you say, oh, he did that.
Yeah.
But instead of like a white background with spray painting all different colors, for one of them I painted the whole background. I rolled on, it's like a fluorescent green acrylic, and then which dries flat, but then the paint that I used on top of it is all super high gloss. So not only do you get the contrast in colors, but then you get a contrast in sheens, and there's a few paintings in the show that are like that, which you're not going to pick up in a photo seeing it like on Instagram.
Yeah. So, meaning that you guys can go in person.
Yeah, you gotta check
observe
it out.
And I will say this, because this is my first show inside a bar with art. Like I'm very particular about location. Uh-huh. And one thing about Bronx Brewery is they're not a typical bar. They pride themselves on being involved with the art.
Yes.
You know, up like at their main brewery, they have a ton of great artists who have done work up there.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to branch more and I think do more of the artwork. So it was a really great marriage this summer with the festival. And then having them work together, we had Bronx Brewery there. Mm-hmm. And they really liked Peter. Working together with them was great. And so when they were asking me about doing something with them, like we were talking, both of us were just kind of like, Peter kind of be perfect to just, because we knew it could work well. And I feel like whose art in here can we still keep the integrity of the art and it can be valued? And I felt like Peter's work, because of the sign work, it really could still shine in a certain kind of setting, and I will say that all of us, when we first got there, were like, and then when thinking about putting it up there, it really, I think it'll really work. And yeah, that location, you get such a good variety of people and tourists, and it is Hip Hop 50, and I think we were like, we were talking about doing it kind of around that, and it just made sense. That's what he, really, the bulk of his work is dedicated, and his whole career. I mean, you heard it started with the breaking. Yeah. I mean, this another one of these guys that's just like all the elements, the real culture.
Yeah.
So it deserves to be celebrated by those people.
And I do have to ask, it's probably just me seeing the correlation, because I feel like I have slight ADD to a certain level. Do you feel like there's a correlation between your art style and airbrush t-shirts?
All right, so yes.
Because I feel like there is.
All right.
And a lot of signs.
Yes.
Because of the way that I address the spraying, the different colors and stuff, absolutely. There was an artist growing up, and actually he's become a close friend. He writes ends. His name is Marcus Suarez, who when I was a kid, he was like a t-shirt airbrush artist in what was a flea market in South Brooklyn called Caesar's Bay Bazaar. And like everybody, Shirt King Fade is known for the hip hop stuff, but he was like the South Brooklyn version of that. But was also like a prominent subway bomber, and then like he's a super respected fine artist. He's done like really big stuff with Absolute Vodka, and he's done a lot of work with Pam Anderson. Like he's tight with her back in the day, and he's just done a lot of stuff. But yeah, I would go to Caesar's Bay and just watch him airbrushing. So absolutely the way he would put colors and Shirt King Fade, like all that background stuff, absolutely plays into what I do in the background as well.
Nice. So do you think you could give us like a sneak peek of like a piece that you're planning on debuting?
I'll show you all. I don't care.
Yay!
You have your...
Yeah,
for my eyes only.
We're not going to show it on the camera. No. Anybody watching there has to come on Thursday.
Yeah, no, they have to. Yeah. If they want to see the greatness, they got to get their butts over there.
Yeah, I'll show you once we finish up.
It's not in the Bronx, you guys. You guys don't got to take the 6 or whatever it is.
I swear, I try not to even take the breath when I say Bronx Brewery because people get like, you know, like, and I'm like, no, it's like, at
and it's nothing. No.
It's dope in there.
I'm not knocking the Bronx. The energy. I've been up there.
I love that
energy over there is beautiful.
In the summer, because of that outdoor space.
Yeah, they have so many outdoor activities, especially like especially with the Puerto Rican community being so like out there over
Scratch
there.
Scratch Bastard, he did a cool thing out there. They've had a lot of
it's
Scratch
crazy.
Bastard.
Did I pronounce it hard?
Yeah.
You know, listen.
Because yeah, you should know that. It's Scratch Bastard.
Listen.
BASTID.
I'm kind of famous for bad pronunciations. Usually, at least they'll be like amusing.
He's so dope.
Yeah, I'm bad for.
Absolutely.
I'm bad pronouncing things too.
And then especially with Instagram, because I'll be like putting the spaces the wrong place. So like I think it's terrible. We'll say that for later.
No, if anything, we're products of the New York public school system, so that's all right.
Yeah, a little flavor. Yeah, a little flavor or something. Everyone always calling you this. Let me show you how you can do this different.
So, and Jess, I am so sorry. I said this was going to be a 35 to 45 minute interview. I am so sorry.
What time did we start?
I have no clue.
Wait.
It's been like 5:15ish. I think like
was
an hour and a half or so.
No,
it always happens.
Got here like 5.
Well, good.
I don't hate it. Everybody else kind of hates it, and I'm just like, no, we're vibing. Just let the vibes vibe.
No, she's just a part of the family. I already invited her to January.
Yeah. Oh no, we're definitely covering January too, and then Thursday. Like, don't worry, we got you. So I wanted to play a cute little fast game of this or that.
Okay. So
oil or acrylic paint?
Oil.
Why?
Because that's just what I use.
You're just more comfortable with oil?
It flows. But so there's different oil paint. There's oil paint like when like the fine artists do.
Yeah.
The paint that I use is an oil-based paint. Like the sign paint.
Yeah.
It's oil, so that's just why I choose.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Gotcha.
Black, no sugar.
On some real New Yorker shit.
Yeah.
I'm a real New Yorker, and I
because I actually like the taste of coffee.
Yeah.
My sister's like it's this much sugar in it, and then it's vanilla creamer in hazelnut coffee. I'm like, you don't fucking like coffee.
Okay, so do you prefer to work with music on or in silence?
I always have music on. Always.
What's your go-to track?
It's not that I have a go-to track. What I usually do is I have Jazzy Jeff playing mixes in the background. Yeah. He's my all-time, and I got to paint a painting for him.
Oh no, I peeped. I saw that too.
And
I saw that.
A collaboration in the works.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, Frank exclusive. Look at that. Look at that. So, are you more creative in the daytime or the nighttime?
It varies. It doesn't matter.
Gotcha. So, bodega coffee or one of them hipster cafe brewery coffees?
Neither. I honestly I like Starbucks. A lot of people think it's shit. I'm just so used to the taste of Starbucks. Bodega coffee, I don't think I've ever had in my life. Ever. I've had Bodega hot chocolate. But I never had, because one of those, it's sitting around, whatever. And hipster fancy coffee, although I'll drink an iced coffee.
Yeah.
The regular stuff, I don't know, just...
They'll have, like
I'll drink it.
lavender-infused coffee, and I'm just like, bro, let me just get light and sweet, 3 sugars, that's it.
I like coffee-flavored coffee. That's it.
No, me too. I really don't like flavored coffee.
Yankees game or a Knicks game?
An Islanders game.
Oh, wow.
I'm hot.
Look at that.
It's the only sport I watch. I'll watch the Super Bowl. I'll watch the World Series, like maybe, but I'm hockey.
Nice. I'm a basketball girl. Like
basketball
and soccer.
I would say basketball would be a number 2, but it's so far down. It's hockey and there's really nothing else.
Yeah. So Coney Island Boardwalk or Rockaway Beach?
Oh, Coney Island. Yeah.
What a story.
I've been to the Rockaway Beach board. I don't even want to call it a boardwalk. It's not a boardwalk. It's like cement now.
Oh, good.
But no. Yeah. Coney Island, Brighton Beach, 100%.
I've been to Brighton Beach mad times, but the one time that I went to Coney Island, it was literally probably like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm from Queens, born and raised in Queens, so my Queens ass had no business in Coney Island, especially senior year.
Coney Island's for everybody.
Senior year, the cops didn't think so because it was senior cut day.
And senior cut day.
Yeah, it was senior cut day, and that was the first and last time I ever got picked up in a paddy wagon. Like, I literally I walked the boardwalk for 5 minutes, and then after that said, I'm hungry, let's go to Nathan's. And all I hear is, whoop, whoop. Right? And they're like, yo, you two, come here. And I'm like, okay, I'm 16, I should be good. Nope. They were like, you gotta be 17 or older with parental guidance or something like that to be walking around here, and it's not even 12. So my parents from Queens, Long Island City, had to drive all the way to Coney Island to pick me up. The cops at one point were like, sir, you can't beat your daughter here. You gotta beat her behind closed doors. You can't touch her here. It was that bad.
Did you get your Nathans? Ever?
No, I never.
But you've had Nathans.
Yeah, I've had Nathans, but I never got my Nathans that day from that Coney Island. And now every time my friends are like, "You want to go to Nathans?" I'm like, maybe. They're like, "The one in Coney Island."
Trauma.
I'm like, shit. I'm triggered.
I should take advantage of it more than I do. I mean, it's been years since I've had it, but yeah, I mean,
now we're all gonna want it after this.
I'm probably.
Where's the closest papaya dog?
The MoMA or the Met? I know.
I'm going to say the Met because it's the Met.
I know. I'm the same way.
MoMA's dope.
Yeah. Oh, no, the MoMA's fire.
But nothing is the Met.
No, you could purposely get lost in the Met. And I love that.
Yeah, Met is so dope.
So the Bronx Zoo or New York Aquarium?
New York Aquarium, because in Coney Island.
Yeah, I know.
and yeah, that's in the Bronx.
It's in the Bronx.
Although I did a couple of years ago, me and my girl went to the Cloisters.
Beautiful.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually...
I like this. It's like a couple of years ago we ventured in that
it has something to do with the Met.
Area.
Yeah, I don't remember why...
A couple years ago, we took a hike up there.
You know when... Was it... I think... Was it COVID or just before? I don't remember why we were up there. But it was cool because we actually then went to like Arthur Avenue and hit like all that shit there. But I was like, yeah, I'm never fucking coming back here.
You're like, you got no reason to come back here.
Yeah, it's too far.
I came, I saw a concert, I'm out.
I got Italian shit in my neighborhood, so.
So a chopped cheese or a classic New York slice?
All right, so New York slice, 100%. But I wouldn't put those two together. I would say chopped cheese or bacon, egg, and cheese.
Okay, so I was gonna do that one, but I was like, one of them can be lunch and dinner, and the other one is kind of just breakfast and late dinner, depending how late you leave.
All right.
So I was like, okay, both could be lunches.
New York pizza over everything. Bacon, egg, and cheese over chopped cheese, because I haven't heard of a chopped cheese up until a couple of years ago. I don't know how it became like, New York chopped cheese. It's always been bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I did have my first and actually only chopped cheese about a year ago, and oh man, it was good.
Oh,
yeah. I was like, I see what it's all about now.
Yeah.
And it was actually probably bougie chopped cheese because it came with yuca fries.
Oh, that is bougie. Oh, but treat yourself.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
Yeah, yuca is like potatoes, like strong cousin.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, fucks potatoes.
So, zebra cakes or cosmic brownies?
Zebra.
Nice. nice.
Yeah.
I walked into a supermarket the other day and disclosure.
Those are like the little Debbie's ones, right?
Yeah, the little Debbie ones.
Yeah.
I was smacked, but I walked into the supermarket and I see the big rectangle box of like 2 for $5 cosmic brownies. I was like, ooh, y'all coming home with me.
Yeah, see, I haven't had that.
I took 4 of them.
Literally since I'm a kid.
It's the only thing that stayed the same price I have in my supermarket too.
Yeah.
But what I fucked with harder than those were cream pies. What guy doesn't like that?
Yeah.
And honey buns.
Honey buns. Oh my God. I had a dude in my science class at high school that would always a coffee, literally just like that, black with a little bit of sugar and honey bun. Yeah, no. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if he walked in early as shit or 2 hours late to class. Like he had that honey bun on him, and he was eating it, smacking it like.
Because they're honey. That's it. The sticky.
I was like, bro, oh God. And raspberry cheesecake, like the regular raspberry cheesecake, or Junior's original cheesecake.
Junior's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Anything in Brooklyn, involving Brooklyn.
Yeah. Well, I like plain cheesecake, if there's nothing.
No, honestly, if you said raspberry, I would have judged a little because I'm like Junior's. It's fucking Junior's.
Okay, and I'll defend Junior's to the death for straight regular cheesecake, but ricotta cheesecake, Italian cheesecake, over regular cheesecake any day.
I'm gonna have to try that one.
And the first time I ever had it, I remember I was a little kid and I had gone out to dinner with my grandfather, and for dessert I ordered cheesecake, and it was Italian cheesecake. It looks similar, but the consistency is different, the flavors, it's definitely milder. And I hated it because it was something, it's like going to take a sip of Sprite and it's seltzer. You're expecting something different, so it fucks your head up.
Yeah.
But as an adult, Italian cheesecake, all day.
Nice. Now I gotta ask, but you're probably gonna be biased. Italian cheesecake or Dominican cake?
What's Dominican cake?
You never had Dominican cake? Like just straight up regular Dominican cake?
You say Dominican cake?
Oh, wow.
Like tres leche?
Yeah.
Oh!
Like tres leche type shit. Like, yeah, you know what I'm... Yeah. You see?
Oh,
you see? But like even outside of tres leche, Dominican regular cake is amazing.
All right, yeah, that
but
would...
tres leche at this point.
It would depend on mood, but there's a Spanish restaurant that I order from in my neighborhood every so often, and when it comes in like the little plastic thing and the bottom is all like milk.
Yes.
And
that's how I judge it, because sometimes the bodega will have it on the side, and I'm like, no, I need to get the one that got the most.
No, it's like almost like floating in there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Yay. Well, I'm happy we agreed on that. Is there anything else that you want your viewers and people to know about Thursday's event?
Well,
because I know it's going to be fire.
It's at Hudson Yards. It's on the second floor.
Yes.
In Hudson Yards.
The entrance is by the vessel. Because when we first went there...
I wish there was footage.
Yeah, we didn't even know...
I just wish there was footage, because I know at one point it turned around and Peter was standing in something looking...
We're walking around. We're like, I said, the address is 20 Hudson Yards. What the fuck does that mean? It's not like a building. Oh, there it says 20. Yeah, we had no idea. So we're walking around looking. And what was cool was there was...
a car show.
There was a car, like all like exotic... Like Ferraris and all like lined up. So it was dope. We had tons of people out there. But anyway, so we walk into the mall, and sure enough, it was in there. And when I realized it was in a mall, I was like, oh, it's in a mall. But then when we walked in there, I was like,
okay, this is not.
It was like, oh,
yeah. I think I used the same example. Like, there's no Claire's. Like,
it's a really,
no offense, Claire's.
Really, really nice
they
mall. They
might be going bankrupt, but it's okay.
Yeah. What I like about it is the fact that I'm going to get eyes on my artwork that I wouldn't normally have.
Yes.
So in that regard,
and they've done good work there. But they, I think they really wanted to create a certain environment there, even though it's inside a mall. So they not only did the front of their restaurant, but there's an adjacent restaurant where they were like, can we do it over here? So there's benches. They put like lights as if it was outside. Mm-hmm. So I think especially like Peter's done fancy, like a special sign for the, for the window. And I think all of it together, it's going to be not what you'd definitely expect. If you're like, oh, it's going to be in this bar and mall, it's really going to be nice. It's a nice space. They did a nice job.
It seems like it's going to be more outside of the actual place than in it. Because is Large going to be set up?
He's going to be inside, I think, like right in the front by that window, I think.
Oh, that is true.
So Large Professor, the legendary Large Professor, will be DJing.
Thank you, Large.
He there'll be 2. He has some people to bring with him. DJ Late for Dinner and Carazilla are both great, just to like get it started, I think. And then it will be Large Professor. And it's so funny because just quickly, I went to the Beyond the Streets thing, and this is before, like, me and Peter know all the same people. Like, I love Chino, but like me and Peter for some reason never connected.
No.
And literally, like, we know. I feel like it's crazy. So when I was doing the landmark, he was like so perfect because I didn't want to do something like, it's cool to have like posters and signs, but I was like, I just want this to be so special that I want it to be like handmade for this show, like with feeling.
Yeah.
And I was like looking, I was like, I think I have this good picture of you. And I do. And it's him doing the artwork at the Beyond the Streets. And he's wearing a Live at the Barbecue t-shirt.
Am I?
Yes. Yeah. Which is, Large Professor. So I was like, oh, this is so meant to be. It's crazy. So, and even when I was talking about it, I asked Large, he's like, no, that's Peter Pate. He's like, nah, I'm there. Like, he has so much respect for you.
Such a full circle moment.
And I think you could tell after hearing him, like, this was like after the artist talk. We had an artist talk for the last show for Landmark, and he's like, oh, I don't usually do stuff. Every single person after was like, I love Peter Pate. I appreciate his artwork so much. I'm not kidding, everyone. And I think with this show and even, this opportunity for him to speak a little more, like, he is like the real deal. Like, he keeps saying people realize that about him, but he's just so authentic. The quality of the work is so crazy. And just even the way he goes about the work is so professional. And like, even when you were telling that story where you were like, when you first started the sign shop, I was like, I can't even picture you messing up. Like, I was like, you see those.
If you look, the artwork that I posted today was the Empire State of Mind. You catch it. There was shit happens sometimes, and I accidentally and I put paint outside of one of the letters. So I take like a little paper towel with some paint on it, and I clean it off, and then shit happens. And I don't want to say it's rare that it happens. It doesn't happen frequently, but it does happen. Yeah. It's you're human, and that's also that when I would DJ and I would record mixes. I mean, I prided myself on like really long, smooth blends. Like I did play hip hop, but I was primarily like a house music DJ and a lot of like disco and stuff like that. And a big thing with house is just like long, seamless transitions. But when you're DJing live, sometimes you fuck up. A record skips or something. And I would always leave little things like that in my mixes because it's a human element. And, I think that's dope. So, early on, I made a painting, one of my closest friends. And I send it to him, and he calls me up a couple days later. He's like, I'm spending fucking an hour over here with an eraser, erasing all of your pencil lines on there. I'm like, you idiot. The pencil lines are part of the artwork, so you can see how I laid stuff out, and I leave that stuff on there. And he goes, oh no, I thought you got lazy and you left them. It's all part of the artwork. Like when I would, in the commercial art, like sign world, create a sign, you lay it out with pencil or with charcoal, and it's small lines. You don't really see it when it's in a window, but if you go up, you can look and say, oh, that's how he followed, so it's all part of the story of what's up.
It's kind of like the blueprint to the pavement that was laid out. That is amazing. This has been educational, and I love everything about it. And
Thank you,
I'm so
Kevelyn.
excited for Thursday. Like, especially we got the exclusive, and then on top of that, this is gonna be like you're unleashing new work to the world that nobody has seen except me in a little couple minutes. Excited. So, where can people find you on Instagram and all the good stuff?
Instagram is at Peter Pate NYC, and my website is peterpate.com.
And you, Kate?
On Instagram, it is Kate_NYC_.
Thank you for coming here,
Thank
guys.
you for having me.
Thank you for watching. If you watched this long, I'm assuming Jess, again, I'm sorry.
We love Jess.
Just go ahead, like, subscribe, all the things that the regular YouTubers say. And yeah, we'll see you guys. Thank you. Bye.